Shabbos and Happy Hanukkah. 50 years ago, the Rebbe started the Hanukkah campaign. I was a kid. I remember we would collect money and rent a station wagon. Our class would, which wasn't that large, would pile into the station wagon and go to one of the neighborhoods in New York and go house to house asking people if they have Hanukkah or not, and Hanukkah candles, either giving or selling it to them for a small price in order to encourage Jews to light the Hanukkah candles. This then developed into the public menorah lightings that we see around the world. And the reason for it is because Hanukkah, of all the mitzvahs, is the mitzvah where we bring our Judaism outward. Hanukkah, we show the world about the miracle of Hanukkah and the story of Hanukkah and the concept of that Judaism needs to be a light unto the world. I was having a conversation with someone this week who said to me, "You shouldn't be having Hanukkah events in the public parks. You should keep the Hanukkah events indoors in shuls and homes, not in public parks." And because he was, of course, referring to the anti-Semitism that we're seeing today around the world, and absolutely not. We have to, at this time, show more pride. We have to stand up strong for being Jewish and for what Judaism has to share with the world. We cannot cower. We cannot be afraid. We have to be ourselves. And when we do, we are respected. We had a beautiful event last night in the St. Ives Village Green with 2,000 people. We had representatives from state, federal, and local government, all speaking highly about the contribution of the Jewish community to our society. And that is indeed the case. We as Jews have been a light unto the nations, and that is our role, and our goal is to be a light unto the nations. Now, I want to point something out, something that maybe can be explain the situation we are in the world today. In order for someone to be able to be an influence, they have to know who they are. Let me give you an example. After Shabbat, we make what's called Havdalah. We separate between the Shabbos and the weekday. And in that very same Havdalah, we say the one who separates the Shabbos and the weekday, darkness and light, from between the Jew and those who are not Jewish. And the idea is that in order for someone to be able to be an influence, he has to know who he is. We make Havdalah separating Shabbos from the weekday because in order for Shabbos to influence the rest of the week, Shabbos has to be Shabbos. You have to have a demarcation. You have to know who you are. Shabbos has to be Shabbos in order for it to be able to have an influence on the weekdays. In order for Jews to be able to be a light unto the nations, in order to rectify the world or to help rectify the world by giving the guidance of Judaism to the entire world, we need to know who we are. We need to be Jewish. We need to be distinctly Jewish. And when we don't figure it out ourselves, unfortunately, sometimes this happens, that we don't, anti-Semitism takes hold, and we're forced to start asking ourselves, what does it mean to be Jewish? What does it mean to be distinctly Jewish? Why is it that we stand alone sometimes? Yes, we have good friends, as we saw last night. We have great friends in many places, but there's way too much who do not like us. That's meant to make us ask ourselves, who are we? What is our role? What is our goal? What is our purpose? And I think a major part of this is the fact that we are meant to be a light unto the nations. Not only a light unto the nations, we're meant to bring the light of God into the world. In Tanya, the Alter Rebbe explains that the light of God is so infinite, so great, that is way beyond the ability for it to come into our reality, onto the physical world. In order for it to be able to do so, it needs, so to speak, some intermediate element that has both parts of the world and parts of godliness, and that's the Jewish people. The soul of the Jewish people originates within the essence of God. We're told the Jews come from Hashem's thought, and Hashem first consults with the souls of the righteous, and all your people are righteous, says the Mishnah. It consults with regards to the creation. In other words, the energy of God, in order for it to come into the world, needs to pass through the light of the Jewish souls, the Jewish people. And for that to happen, we need to know who we are. We need to be Jews. And so what is happening today is that people are finally coming to awareness and understanding who we are, what our role is, and what our purpose and goal in the world is. And that is not to use others, not to rule over others, but rather to be a people who shine the light of God onto the entire world. That's who we are. And we do so by shining goodness and kindness and being the people that one could say, wow, look at these people. They are God's people because of the way we behave, because of what we do, because of the goodness and kindness that we exude from ourselves. That is the idea of Ner Mitzvah Torah. The mitzvah is a candle. Torah is light. Ner Hashem Nishma Sodom. The candle of God is the soul of man. This all the synergy is all expressed in the Hanukkah candles. When we light the Hanukkah candle, the previous Rebbe says, listen to the story it tells. The Hanukkah candle is an expression of our souls, and that has to be put on display. It has to be there for the world to see the beauty and the greatness that is the Jewish people, the holiness that is the Jewish people. And that is our role at present. That's what we have to achieve and have to do. And I'd like to share with you again the beginning and end of a story that I shared in the past, just lately, but I've heard a beginning and an end to it that really brings out this idea that I've just told you. There's this story of this rabbi who has a young lady involved with knows this young lady who is went to his seminary in Israel. She lost her mother when she was quite young, and she lost her father not long ago. So she is a complete orphan on both sides. Now we know, unfortunately, when someone is an orphan, it makes it much harder for them to find a shidduch, find someone who would marry them. In Israel, especially amongst the religious community, the parents of both sides participate in establishing the young couple in their new life. And when someone's an orphan, they have no one who will help them. So it's harder for her to find someone who will, be interested in starting a life together. So this young lady, after the events of October 7th, calls up this Rabbi Zaid and says, I want to do something for in whose merit I will get a shidduch. And what does she want to do? She wants to give all her money she's collected for him to buy tzitzis. She gave him 6,000 shekel, which is all the money she had. And he says to her, you want to give all that away? You're not meant to do that. You give a portion of what you have. You don't give all of it. She says, no, I insist. I want to give my entire life savings, 6,000 shekel, for you to buy tzitzis and give it out to the soldiers. This is right, within the first week of the events. So the rabbi goes and he buys the tzitzis, 100 pairs. And he says, okay, I have the tzitzis for you. He says, no, you go and give it out. He says, well, me go there? It was still the danger zone. She says, yes. Yes, okay, I'll ask my wife. He thought for sure his wife will say no. He asks his wife, says, no, go ahead. So he goes, and as he gets down there, he's delayed in the car for an hour and a half. They're looking for a terrorist that's still on the loose, and they have to protect everyone. Anyway, after an hour and a half, they think they have it all cordoned off. It's all okay. He goes out and he starts giving out the tzitzis to the soldiers and the policemen. He sees a policeman that's a little bit further away, and he says, hey, Baruch Atah. He makes the blessing, Laniach Tefillin. He says, no, not Tefillin, tzitzis. He says, okay, throw it here. You can't come here, but throw it here. So he throws the tzitzis, and it gets caught by the wind, and it moves off, and it lands somewhere. And all of a sudden, the policeman sees where it lands. There's a movement. It was landed right onto a ditch, and in the ditch there was a terrorist hiding. And the terrorist moved because of this thing that he didn't understand what it was falling upon him. So the policeman, of course, eliminated the terrorist, and obviously that saved his life. Well, this rabbi came back and he told this story in a class that he gave. Many people share the story. I shared the story in one of our videos. So he shares the story. A week later, he gets a call from a fellow in America. He says, you, Rabbi Zaid, yeah, you told the story, yeah. The tzitzis, yeah, okay. And he starts trying to tell him how great tzitzis are. He says, I know about tzitzis. That's not what I'm calling about. This young lady, she's an orphan. She has no mother, no father, right? Tell her, take my number. From now on, I'm her father. Everything she needs, I'll take care of. She needs education, I'll take care of it. Shidduch, a wedding, I'll pay for. A house, I'll pay for. I'm her father from now on. That is the light of the people of Israel. That is who we are. That is as precious as it comes. And this is what we're meant to shine and show the world. And that's what the holiday Hanukkah is about. Know who you are and shine your light. If you don't know who you are, you have no way of shining a light. It's only when we express ourselves as we are, who we are. As Jews, distinct, one candle, two candles, you know exactly how many candles, no torches, individual candles. Individual Jews with beautiful souls that are here to shine a very special light onto the world. That's what a message of Hanukkah. Shine your light. Know what it is. Know who you are. And shine your light. Good Shabbos and happy Hanukkah.